second step, define alternative reconciliation account for vendor down payments. A very simple two steps configuration, and after that we can do the unit testing. We can post number of different transactions and we'll see how the system performs on this. So to create the GL master, that is known as the advanced vendor account, we have to go to the same creation of GL, or that is the ledger account FS00. So before moving, let's have a more discussions on this as a practical example. In normal organizations, what happens that they use down payment or they use special GL indicator for different purposes. One is a down payment, that is advance payment. Again, the management at times want clarifications that how much advance payment has been made to your normal vendors, that is the regular vendor, how much advance payment has been done for capital asset purchase, and how many advance payment has been done to employees in a particular period of time. So these are some of the practical questions which comes up when we work in any organization in a day-to-day activity, and that is what the care has to be taken over here. Apart from this, even again, if you have made any guarantee deposits, again for that we create a special GL indicator for that. Or still, if there is any kind of a security deposit for that matter, or any kind of a bill of exchange, these things are taken up in a special GL indicator where a particular indicator is created, suppose A or C, D, X, Y, Z, any of them which you want, and that particular indicator is given a name. For example, if I want my advance payment to be segregated at different levels, like there could be different level of advance payment. One is a normal payment to the vendor, like normal day-to-day transactions of with the vendors, those payment. The other payment could be that purchase of heavy capital assets for which you need to make payments as an advance. So again, for that there could be a different indicator. For making advance payment to the employees, again you can have a different indicator. So on the basis of these indicators, the reporting becomes simpler, and you can easily have simple reports which can easily give you the status within just a couple of seconds, that how much advances have been done for a period on day-to-day normal vendors, or on capital vendors, or for employees, or maybe for security deposits and XYZ. So that is why this particular special GL indicator becomes very helpful for any organization. Now moving to the configuration, first we'll be creating a GL account. Now I'm going to create not one but two GL account. One advanced vendor account, I will be breaking them in two parts. I will be creating advanced to normal vendors, and second is advanced to, or more easily can be said as first advanced to revenue vendors and advanced to capital vendor, because normally we purchase goods or as a revenue item which to be purchased and sold, and another thing is we purchase for capital goods, so that can be named as a capital vendor. So we will be creating two GL account. Now create two GL account. One is advanced to revenue vendor, and the another could be advanced to capital vendors. So we'll be doing this two ledgers account, and mind it, these both the GL account are alternative reconciliation accounts. So how would be creating this? Let's move on to the SAP screen. FS00. Now these advance which we'll be making to vendors will be a part of what? Asset, liabilities, or balance, profit and loss account, or what? So it's basically a part of loans and advances in balance sheet under assets, because you are making an advance payment to the vendor, which is a part of an asset. If he doesn't deliver the things to you, he is liable to return the money back to the company. So this is basically a current assets, loans and advances. So seems it's working slow. Let's log in another screen. So we'll be moving first to FS00. FS00. Now we need to create assets under the head current assets, or you can say under the head assets. So for that you need to go and you have to search which next number range is free to be used under assets. So there's already 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till 5, it's already there. So we'll be creating 6 and 7 as advance for revenue vendors and advance for capital vendors. So moving next to is 6, you can go to this new option over here, and now this is a part of asset account because we are opening advance for revenue, which is a part of balance sheet under the head assets. So the short for text advance to revenue vendor. So that is it. The space is limited in this. Now you can write the full over here, advance to revenue account. Now moving to the control data in this, the GL which we are creating over here is basically alternative reconciliation account. So whenever we take any reconciliation account, we take this particular field reconciliation for account type. Account type means for which type of account you are creating this reconciliation. So we discussed earlier, account type is basically of 4 types: A for asset, D for customer, K for vendor, S for GL. So we need to select out of this for which we are creating this. So this is basically a part of a vendor. We'll be selecting the vendor and then we have to select the line item display. So this is how you would be filling up the different details on the vendor master creation. Then moving to the next screen, we discussed that the field status group for any reconciliation account is 1, that is reconciliation account. So you can search that again in the screen, that we see that there is another field status group been defined. This is it, and for any reconciliation account you are supposed to use G067. So this is how you would be creating your GL account for for advance to revenue vendors. Save it and your GL will be created. Okay, so you can see your GL has been created and it has been saved under the footnote. Now we'll be creating the next GL, that is advance for capital assets. So moving next, I would be creating 7, and I know that the 6 GL is very much similar to the 7. So what I can do is I can copy that. So I can copy that GL over here, as a template can be copied. So you should know which GL you want to get copied to this, and the company code. So when you take this, enter, it will copy the details of 100006 GL. You can see the G067 is already selected. Moving to the description, you can see the asset and the balance sheet account is already selected. So over here we need to change, that is capital vendors, and over here it will be capital vendors account. So this is what you need to do. You can even copy with the reference. Control data, you can check that everything is very much similar and same. So now we can save the document, and your second GL master account has been created. So as per the screen, we have created 2 GL account. One is advance to revenue vendor and second is advance to capital vendor. So this is how you need to do. Now moving up to the next step is define alternative reconciliation account for vendor down payment. Now here we will be assigning that 2 GL account which we just created as alternative reconciliation account for the vendor down payment, and at the same time over here we'll be creating the special GL indicator. So now let's move with the path. There are 2 options, so we'll be going with the path SPRO IMG screen, then financial accounting new, account receivable and accounts payable. Then we need to go for the vendor, so we have to go for business transactions. Now over here we are making down payment, we are not receiving the down payment, so it is down payment made. So we shall go for this expend. Now after expanding, you can see that the very second tab over here, second option is define alternative reconciliation account for down payment. So over here we'll be defining our reconciliation account for down payment to vendors. So we can click on this, explore. Now you can see these are certain down payments which are already defined in the system. These are by default from the SAP company itself for the software. However, no GL account has been assigned in this. So you can see account type is K. K means vendor. So you can only define the special GL indicators over here for vendors transactions only. Now there are a couple of indicators already there, you can see, and the description against that is also given to you, that for A it is down payment on current assets, B it is down payment financial asset down payment, C is for down payment request. So this down payment, then again I is for intangible down payment. So what I would be doing is I will create 2. Either you can use the same which is already over here. So to use the same, you need to double click on any of them, and when you will double click, it will ask you your chart of account. Once you fill your chart of account, you can enter. It will take you to the next screen. This is it. So over here what we do is we assign the reconciliation account. Now this reconciliation account means the reconciliation account which is assigned in the vendor master account. So if you want to make any advance payment to a particular vendor, so that particular vendor's reconciliation account need to be assigned over here, and in this particular second column we need to fill the alternative reconciliation account, that is the one we just created, that is advance for revenue vendor or advance for capital vendor. So this is the only 2 things which you are supposed to do, so that only it will get substituted by each other when we make any down payment. So this is it. Now moving next, what I will be doing is I will not be using this. I would be creating my own special GL indicators. So for that, what I can do is I can okay. So let's move and create our own. So for creating our own, you need to put the GL indicator which you want to create. So I need two. One is for revenue vendor, one is for capital vendor. So for revenue vendor I will take with R, and for capital vendor I will take with C. So suppose I take C over here, I can put the name over here as revenue so it will be okay, let it be revenue vendor. Whereas on the another side you can write the full description, advance to revenue vendors. So this is what the description which you are filling, which is already you can see on the upper side is been reflected. So once you fill this detail, continue. Now after continuing, you can move and you can see that this another screen has came up to you. So over here you need to mark this commitment warning only, nothing else. Once you did this, now we'll move to assign the account. Now moving to assign the account, you need to save first. So you will save to first. It will ask you to uh, copy the things to the request. So if you want, you can have it in the same request, else you can go to this. If you already have an existing, so I am already have an FICO configuration over here, I can save these configuration changes to this request as well. So double click this and it will be selected and then continue. So I have created one indicator. So you can see the indicator is already there with the description. Now I can move and I can put my reconciliation account over here and the spatial GL indicator over here. So how now spatial GL indicator I already know. I can just go through this. So we can move to this reconciliation account. We can have a list of the ledger account from which we can decide which reconciliation has to be assigned over here. So as of now I have my vendors, so I have only one vendor reconciliation account, that is domestic vendor group. So I will be selecting it, and on the other hand I will be taking the alternative reconciliation. So I think I've done a mistake. I took C and I put it as R revenue. So what I can do now is I can move back. I did a mistake, so I need to first delete it again. So you can delete it with this. Yes. Now it will be again saved with the request. Now I want to go back and create again. So will the system allow me to create this or not? So let's see. So it allows me. I need to assign this, then I need to save it. So the changes will be saved. Now I will move to this accounts. Oh, again I have not changed the revenue. So sorry. So making the request errors. Okay. So let's come back again. OBYR. I can create it again for C, that is capital vendor. Now it will be capital vendor. Now in this case it will be capital vendors. Advanced to capital vendors. Now this is fine. Click the commitments warning. Now once did, you need to save the settings first. Then only we can move to assign the account. So click on this account over here so that we will be able to assign the ledger account to this. So once you click, it asks for the chart of account. You need to put your chart of account, enter. Now over here you need to define your assign your reconciliation GL. This is the normal reconciliation GL which we assign in our vendor master when we create, so that we can check with this. So again, so you can see there is only one vendor normal vendor reconciliation created. This is what I will be taking as a reconciliation account. And now moving up to the second screen, second column, it is a special GL account. This special GL account is known as alternative reconciliation account. So this is what we'll be taking over here as capital vendor, the ledger we just created a couple of minutes back. So we created this over here, advanced to capital vendor account. This is what I will be taking. So the indicator is C, which is for advanced to capital vendor, and against that I have assigned the GL, advanced to capital vendors. So this is what you just need to do. If you have got number of reconciliation accounts, you can assign more reconciliation accounts over here, and you can even assign different GLs or even same GL accounts to others as well. So that is it. You can save it, and your special GL indicator as advanced to capital vendor has been created. Similar you can create for revenue vendor, where you can go and you can create a new special GL indicator R, where you can fill the description advanced to revenue vendor, and then again you can tick mark the commitment, and now you can move to accounts and you can assign the ledger account. That is what you can do. So this is what we have done. We have assigned this indicator, and this indicator is over here C, which has been created. Now we will be moving to the next. So we have already defined the alternative reconciliation account for vendor down payments. Now moving to the next screen is the testing, that whether this indicator works fine or not. So we need to test. So there are two wayouts for doing these down payment. First is with down payment request, and the second one is down payment without request. The first we'll be doing is we'll be creating a request. As in the initial part we discussed, down payment can be done in two wayouts. First is by creating a request, and then that request can be processed further for making the advance payment to the vendor. And the second process is there is no request. It could be a direct advance payment from the accounts department to the vendor. So first we'll create a request for the first method, and then we'll see how on the basis of the request the advance payment are done to the vendor. So to create the down payment request, we need to go to the transaction code Fdis 47. So moving on to the SAP screen, before starting with the request, let's see which vendor we will be using and what are the different transactions in the vendor ledger. So FBL1N. Now we can have a look on the transaction as an open item part. So we'll execute the report over here. and you can have a look. There are only two transactions as of now. One is of $1,000 and one is $108. So total outstanding on the vendor is $1108. So now moving back, let's begin the process of testing. First we'll create the request of down payment with Fdis 47. So moving on to the screen, F-47, enter. Now in this request you need to select the date. So suppose I take the date over here as 12/11 and here as well a day back, and you can put a text over here as a document text. Request for advance payment. Next what you need to do is you need to select the vendor over here to which you want to make the down payment request. So it will be the vendor code which has been selected. There is two options. Either you can select it from over here if you've used it earlier, or you can go to over here and you can search your own vendor to which you want to process the down payment for. Continue. System seems slightly slow on the side. Maybe the server could be slow. So you can select the vendor over here, that is the vendor code selected. Now you need to select over here the target special GL indicator. Target means what is the special GL indicator by which you want to make the advance payment. So if you want to make an advance payment with maybe the indicator could be C or maybe R or maybe something else, whatever you have defined. So if you want to see the list, you can go to this and you can expand the list for down payment indicators. So what are the different indicators? We can have a look. So as of now there are different indicators you can see, and from which indicator you want this advance payment request to be processed, that is what you need to select. So if you want to make the request with the indicator there is no R, if you want to have the indicator A you can use A, but as of now we have did the configuration only for the indicator C. So right now I will be using the C indicator, but you can define your own number of different special GL indicator and you can use them alternatively for the testing purpose, how the request is created and how it is processed further. So I will be selecting the indicator C. So once you select this indicator C, then you need to go to the new items over here. So when you click onto the new item, the system will ask you certain more details about the request, like how much advance payment you want to make. So suppose I want to make the advance payment of $20,000. Then you need to put the business area over here. Then you need to take the due date. So due date, if you want, you can take the same day as the due date as well. Now you don't need the payment block because I don't want to block the payment right now. So that is what. And next you can fill over here is the text. Suppose for example I am making advance payment, so I can write the text over here as advanced against PO. So this is what you need to do, and once you do this you can directly go and you can post this document. So once you post, your request for down payment has been created. So there is a warning message. You can enter this screen and you will generate a document. You can see the document is generated with this number And if you want to see this number again, you can go to this document display. So you can see that there is only one line item has been created and there is no second line item, means this particular request is will not impact the accounting because it does not impact any of the ledger account because this is a noted item. So whenever you make any down payment request, the down payment request never affect any of the accounting ledgers. It is termed as, that is why it is termed as noted items. Noted items means basically it is a noted note that the advance payment has to be done. It is a request for advance payment, but the request does not impact the financials anywhere. So this is how, that is why there is no debit and no credit in it. Now moving on, once you have made the request, now I want to see whether this particular down payment request will be impacting in my ledger account or not. So moving on to check my vendor ledger account, we'll go to FBL 1N. Now you can see this screen and you can execute it over here. Again you will find that they are just the two transactions which were earlier on the screen, as it is same because these are normal transactions. But yet if you want to search for how many down payment request has been generated in the system from a particular date range, you can even look for that. So for that you need to go down, scroll down, and you need to take this normal item off and you need to take this noted item. Noted item means the down payment request. So you want to see the noted items, you need to select the noted items tab and then you will execute this report. So when you execute this report, you will find that the down payment request which we just made a while back has been reflected over here. But again, this does not impact your accounting balance or the ledger balance. It has nothing to do with the preparation of the financial statements. So moving back, we have created this down payment request as of now. We'll move back and we'll see how the down payment or the advance payment to the vendor can be processed on the basis of this payment request. So moving to the next transaction, that is Fdis 48, we'll execute /n Fdis 48, or even if you want, you can have a separate screen in which you can process your down payment request. So moving to over here, Fdis 48, enter. So you can see over on the heading post vendor down payment is already the status. So over here you need to select the date. Now you have to take the date over here, then the document type, company code, posting date. By default these things have been selected, but in case these things are not there, you need to fill those fields. So moving to the next, you need to select the vendor account. Then you need to select the special GL indicator. So the special GL indicator, if you don't know, you can again go and you can open the list and you can select out of it. So as of now what we are using is C. So we'll be selecting C as an indicator. So now you need to select the bank account. Selected the bank, then you need to select the business area and the amount. So the amount is $20,000 we have selected, and we can put the text over here as advanced against PO. So this is what you need to fill the details on this particular screen, and then you can move. Now I need to select the request because I am processing this down payment on the basis of down payment request. So to select the request on the basis of which this advance payment has been made, you can go to this request over here tab and you need to click on this request. When you click on this request, all your requests will be reflected. So right now there is only one down payment request in the system, but if there could be number of other requests, that all requests would have been reflected over here, and out of that the one which you are processing will be selected like this. You need to select from over here. So I have selected this request, and after selecting this request we can go to simulate the entry. So as you simulate, you can see the document has been generated, and you can have a preview of it, that how it will be reflected once it will be posted. So you can see the bank account is credited with $20,000, whereas the vendor account is debited with $20,000. The posting key is there, 29 for debiting the vendor, 50 for crediting the ledger account, and the C represents the special GL indicator. So this is how the document needs to be posted: the first line item, the second line item. So once it is okay with you, you can go and you can click onto the post button, and the document will be posted. So I'm clicking onto the post, and now it will generate a document number that is there. 1500005 is the document which has been posted. So if you want to see the document, there are two options. Either you can directly move over here on the top, document display, and this document will be reflected to you as a display part over here, or else you can go to the transaction code FB03 if you remember, and you can put the details over here, the document number which you want to see, the company code, and the fiscal area. Enter on it, and you can see the details of the document. Even if you want to see how many documents have been posted on a particular date, or if you want to see multiple documents, you can go to this document list over here. So when you click onto the list, it will give you multiple options. So you can put the date over here, you can search the number of documents on the basis of posting date, on the basis of document number, on the basis of even document type. So if I want to see how many payments I have processed in today's date, so you can see that also. So 12/11/2014, and you can process it as over here, execute, and it will show you the number of documents. So you can see there are these number of documents which has been processed as per the posting date on 12/11/2014. These are the document numbers. So this is how you can use this FB03 tab for these purposes from document list. So you can search number of things on the basis of this. Now moving next, we have made the down payment. That means we have completed the second transaction over here. Now once you made the request, you made the down payment, that is the advance. So need to see that whether the advance shows in the ledger account or not. So we need to again go back to scroll down, and you need to take the noted item off, and you need to select the special GL transaction. Why? Because making a down payment is a special GL transaction as discussed in the beginning. So if I want to see only the down payment, I need to select on a special GL transaction. And once you select this and then you process the open item, it will show you the down payment made to the vendor account. So you can see the down payment has been reflected, 20,000 and 15,000. So today, just now, couple of minutes back, we did this particular document posting, that is 20,000, and the indicator has been reflected to you over here. See, and this column is termed as a special GL indicator. So even you can see your indicator is reflected over here for better understanding that what indicator, by which indicator you have made the advance payment. So once you made the down payment now to the vendor, now move to the next is the invoice booking. So in a normal scenario, in any practical scenario in a business, what happens is first the company gives a purchase order, issues a purchase order to the vendor. On the basis of the purchase order, the company makes down payment or advance payments to the vendor so that the vendor can get the order completed on time. So once you give the down payment, after that the vendor delivers you the goods. So when he delivers the goods, he also sends an invoice against the same. So now the next point comes up that suppose the invoice is of $50,000. So we made already a $20,000 advance to the vendor. Now a $50,000 of invoice need to be booked against the vendor in the system. So after that only the net payment of 30,000, that is $50,000 minus $20,000 is equal to $30,000 will be paid to the vendor account. So we have already made the advance payment. Now is the time we will be booking the vendor invoice of $50,000 for the vendor. So let's move and process the down invoice to the vendor. The transaction is FB60, you can see. So we'll move to post the transaction over here, that is FB60. Enter. You need to select the vendor over here, the invoice number. Suppose I take the invoice number of today, date 13, and you need to put the amount 15000. Suppose this is the down pay, this is the invoice amount, and then you can put the reference number over here. Suppose I take this, you need to take text, and over here you need to select the GL as per your transaction. You can have an expense GL selected, or you can have your inventory or purchase GL can be selected, which you can have a look from the list of your GL and you can select that. So it is the purchase account which I am selecting. Then I will be taking the amount over here, and suppose I take the transaction code also. So I take the transaction code as V8. V8 means now on the $50,000 of invoice, 8% of tax will be calculated. So if I take the tax code, I need to take the tax jurisdiction as well. So I have selected the tax jurisdiction as well. Now we'll be moving ahead. I need to take the business area. So you need to take care of these things what need to be selected as a compulsory part, and those things has to be selected. So once you select these things, now we'll be going to this calculate tax. So we need to click onto the calculate tax tab. So as you calculate on this, you can see the amount has changed over here. There is still some amount pending over here. It should always be 0 over here. Until it will be 0, it will keep on coming with a red light over here which says that it is an error and you cannot post a document. So I need to go back over here. I need to take this amount off, then enter on the screen. It will show you an updated, so you can see a pop-up box has came up over here, and the pop-up box says 35,000 US dollars advance to the capital vendor exist. That means we already had made an advance payment of around $35,000 to this particular vendor. So we'll adjust that 35,000 advance to the vendor once we will be processing the payment against this invoice. So this is just for the acknowledgement to get you in mind that this much amount of advance is already done. Now continue. So you can see when I took this amount off, the system updates the amount over here, that is 54,000. So this amount you need to copy and you need to paste it in the amount filled. So once you do that, it simply means that 8% of 50,000 is 4,000. So the total invoice comes up to be 50,000 plus tax, that is 50,000 plus 4,000 is equal to $54,000. So once you put this amount over here, now you need to enter from the keyboard. Once you enter, you can see that the balance has become 0 over here, and this green light over here has become, red light over here has become green light now, which says that everything is okay, there is no problem, and we can proceed ahead. So once you have completed these all filling of details on the screen, we need to go to simulate so as to check that our transaction is very much correct. So clicking onto the simulate field, it gives you the entry and it says that the vendor is credited with $54,000. $50,000 is for purchase and $4,000 is for the taxes charged by the company. So once this is okay, you can go to this post option, click on it, and your invoice will be posted. So you can see the invoice has been posted and the number has been generated over here to you as an account number. So if I go back again to want to see the ledger account for my vendor, how can I have a look? I have to just fill the vendor code, and now mind it that if you want to select the normal item, you need to select it, because apart from any down payment, all other transactions are normal items. So I want to see my account balance always on the basis of normal item and special GL transactions. Apart from that, this noted or parked items are never taken into considerations. So we'll be taking these two line items only, and then we'll be executing the report. So once you execute this report, it shows you the statement balance on a screen. So it shows that there is already two down payments, 15,000 and 20,000. That is why the system was giving you a message of 35,000 down payment against the vendor. So that is it. The next is on just right now we posted one invoice with $54,000, which is reflected over here on the screen, and again you can see the down payment has been indicated with the special GL indicator, that is C, on these two parts. So these two are termed as down payment, and again you can see that these are actually payment by the bank, so their document type is with KZ, whereas for vendor invoice it always is KR. So we did the invoice posting. Now the second we will be moving up next is, after that we'll be making vendor payment. Now we'll be making the vendor payment for the remaining balance against the invoice and the down payment. So we'll move to Fdis 53, executing the transaction Fdis 53, enter. Now you need to fill the details again over here, 1311. You need to select the bank by which you want to process, business area, and over here you need to select the amount, how much you will be making the payment. So if you don't know the amount, you can take any amount and later on you can come back and you can correct the amount what actually to be paid. So right now I don't know the amount, so I will be taking only $1 over here. You can fill the text, final payment can be put over here. The next we can move is to fill the account. So over here account we will be taking the vendor code. So you can see account type is K. K represents the vendor. So when there is K, that means the K account has to be selected, that is the vendor account has to be selected. Now the next thing is, important part is special GL indicator. So you want to take any special GL indicators over here? If you want, you can put over here. If you don't, you can skip it. So I took this screen, and now let's move up to process open item. Once you click on this process open item, over here only these three transactions or three line items are reflected, whereas in the ledger account there are 5 line items. Now these 2 line items are missing. Why? Because we have not considered the special GL indicator and we have not selected C as a special GL indicator. So those 2 line items has been segregated from the payment process. So right now what I will be doing is, I will be making payment. How? I need to select those down payments so as to make easier payments. How I can do that? So I will or you can do one more thing, is the total down payment is 20,000, 15,000 is equal to 35,000. So 54,000 minus 35,000 is equal to how much? Is equal to $19,000. So I will be making a final payment of $19,000 to the vendor so as to set off this particular invoice of $54,000. Now I don't need the upper two line item to be made the payment right now. So what I will be doing is I will be deselecting those line items. So you can double click on this and you can see it has been deselected. Same way you can deselect the $108 line item. It has been deselected and you can see the amount has changed over to 54,000 because only $54,000 has been selected as of now. So out of this 54,000 I only need to make the payment of $19,000 because $35,000 I have already made the advance payment. So now for making the partial payment against 54,000 I will be making a payment of 19,000 only. So for making a parcel payment, you need to go to the second tab over here, that is the parcel payment tab. So click onto the parcel payment tab and the system takes you to the second tab and it says the payment amount. So you can fill over the payment amount which exactly you want to make the payment of. So I will be taking it over here as 19,000, enter, and the balance have been updated over here as 19,000. So this is what been selected, but the first column is still $1 because we initially filled $1 in the screen. So to change the bank payment amount, you need to go to this screen, that is document overview. Click onto the document overview. You can double click on this line item. When you double click, you can fill the amount 19,000, enter. Now again you can go back to this process open items and you can see the 19,000 is done and the balance is 0. So you must take care when you are making payment over here, it should always be equal to 0. If it is not equal to 0, you will not be able to process your document further. So once this has been done, you can move and you can simulate your document so as to have a preview how it will be done. So this is your payment against the invoice of the vendor, that is bank is credited by $19,000 and the vendor is debited with $19,000. And if you post on this post option, the document will get posted. So click onto the post and you have been the document been posted and a document number is generated for the reference. So once this is done, again you can go back to this vendor line item and now over here I can update this report. For updating I have to go to this list and I have to click the refresh button so that while refreshing it will update your ledger too. So refreshed, you can see the balance have been updated over here. So the 19,000 payment have been updated on your ledger account. So you can see how things are done on the screen. But now there is another one question with me, that is whenever you make a down payment, you raise an invoice, you make a part payment, the remaining full payment against the invoice. So when this whole cycle gets completed from making down payment, receiving the goods, receiving the invoice and then making the final payment, when the whole cycle is complete for that particular purchase of goods, then in that case these open items should not be reflected on the vendor ledger because this would confuse you when reconciling the vendor ledger account in the future. So what should be done is the transactions which have been completed with their invoice and payments, those line items should be cleared with each other. Clearing with each other means that they will no more will be reflected as a pending transaction. When you find these transactions red marked over here, this says that these are pending transactions and it has not yet been completed. So to complete the transaction, at times you need to do the clearing activities. So now to do this clearing activity, you need to move to the transaction code Fdis 44. So before moving to Fdis 44, we'll do first is the Fdis 54. Now Fdis 54 is vendor down payment clearing. What this document does actually is that there is a down payment done, that is this and this. Now I want to convert my down payments, that is a special GL transaction. When you make any special GL transaction with the indicator, that is termed as a special GL transaction. So I want to convert my special GL transactions to a normal transaction. So when you want to convert your transaction to a normal transaction, in that case we use this transaction code Fdis 54, by which what it does it clears the down payment line item, that is this line item, and it takes up another line item over here with normal transaction. That means it takes off the special GL indicator C and it updates another line item without any special GL indicator. So when the special GL indicators are taken off, that means that they are normal items. So now we'll be moving to the screen with Fdis 54. Now moving to the transaction, let's execute /n Fdis 54, enter. When you enter on the screen, you need to fill the document number first, then you have to move to the next is you need to select the vendor account, and now the most important part, that is over here, you need to select the invoice document number. So what is the invoice document number? The invoice which you booked in the vendor ledger. So the invoice we booked in the vendor ledger is of $54,000. So the document number for that is 1900004. If I want to copy this over here, you need to go to Control Y. You can see the mouse cursor has changed. Then you can select from over here, drag it till where you want to copy. So select it. You can Control C. The document has been copied. In the same way, you can copy the documents for you, and then Control V will paste the document where you want to paste the document for. If you want to fill any text, you can fill the text as well. Now or clearing to normal line item, and then you can move to process down payments. So this is what the detail you have filled in the initial screen, but now you can see that there are two line items which are as a down payment over here. So which line item you want to convert to a normal line item, that is what you have to decide. So for that you need to go to process down payment. So once you go to process down payment, what the system does, it shows you both the transactions which are special transactions for you. So if I want to convert my first line item, that is $15,000, I need to select that line item. So selecting this line item first and then moving to simulate. So once you simulate, it gives you the document, how it will be reflected, and then you can go and you can post the document. So once the document is posted, you can see the document number has been generated. Now going to the ledger account, you can see this. Now when I refresh this report, this ledger account of vendor, you can see the changes. So when I refreshed, you can see that the 15,000, that is the special GL indicator of line item for 15,000 has been taken off, and another $15,000 of document has been generated on the screen without any indicator. That says that the special GL transaction has been cleared against a normal item, and a normal line item has been generated by the system. So this is what is done with the transaction Fdis 54. Now moving on to vendor clearing. Vendor clearing is basically used when there are transactions which are pending for clearing, or you can say the transactions, the documents which are posted are complete but they have not yet been cleared, because of which they are standing on your ledger account as pending transactions, and that makes a lot of problems when you do reconciliations for vendor in later on dates. So it's always recommended to have vendor clearing at the month end at least. Do not delay it, because once you do it on a on 6 monthly or on a or half yearly or yearly basis, it creates a lot of problems and a lot of time get consumed. So we'll go to Fdis 44 first and we'll see how things can be processed. So moving on to the screen, /n Fdis 44, enter. Now over here you need to fill the account. Account means the vendor account, because we are moving to clear the vendor. So selecting the vendor code. Now over here, more important thing is, if you want that a special GL transaction shall also be get cleared with a particular transaction, so that that particular special GL indicator transaction doesn't remain as a pending one on the screen. So what you can do is, you can have to select this special GL indicator. So you can go to this, expand the list of indicator, and in this you can see for my indicator is C, so I will be selecting that, double click, and again, okay, it has not been selected yet. So to select this special GL indicator, you need to select over here, and now click on to continue. So the C indicator has been selected. That means any special GL transaction with the indicator C will also get selected for clearing purposes. So now after that, when we filled all these detail, you can go to process open items. So when I move to this process open item, you can see all the ledger account has been reflected over here. Sorry, all the line items means all the transactions have been reflected. So you can match these transactions with your ledger account over here. It will 100% match with this, because what the system does is it takes out all the ledger account on a screen, and then you decide which line item has to be cleared against which one. So the plus should be equal to the minus. Now moving on further, these all are selected. So what I need to do when you work on a practical scenarios in organizations, one particular vendor have thousands of line items in their ledger account. So what you need to do is, out of those thousands, I want only a handful of transactions to be cleared, maybe around 10, 12 or 15 line items or transactions to be cleared against each other. So for that, what you need to do is, you need to first deselect all these transactions, because these transactions are already selected as they are reflecting on a blue color over here, or it's been selected because they are reflecting on a different color on this. So what you need to do is, you need to go to this third tab. If you can see, select all from the left side. Then once I clicked on to select all, now you can see all the screen has been selected, all the data has been selected on a screen. Now after that, I would be moving from to the third tab from the right side, that is deactivate the item. So when clicking on to the deactivate the line item, it will deactivate all the data from the screen. So click on to the items. You can see all which have been highlighted now has been in the black color. That means they have been delisted from the highlighting. Now you can see even the balance has become 0 because nothing has been selected. So now I will be selecting what will be the transactions which need to be cleared against the invoices. So now I will be selecting first my invoice, that is $54,000. Now I will be selecting what are the different line items which need to be cleared against this. So the line item against this was the payment. The payment can be recognized with the document type, that is KZ. So we'll select this 20,000. We'll select this 19,000 which we made with Fdis 53, and now we'll be selecting this 15,000. This was the 15,000 advance payment which has been converted to a normal item. So we'll select this, and once I selected this minus figure, you can see $54,000 is in negative, and this 19 plus 15 plus 20 is in positive. So again the value becomes 0, and that is what has to be there. It should always get 0 over here. That you need to take care of. So moving on to the next, once you have selected and you knew that against this invoice these 3 different payment has to be selected, now you can move to document and you can simulate your document for clearing activity. So simulating this document over here, you can see now the document preview is there for you, and for this now you can go and you can save the document or post the document from the button over there on the post button, and the document will get cleared. A document number is generated because even for clearing the pending transactions as clearing transaction, the system pass an adjustment journal entry at the background. So it is why for that even a document is generated. That is what this is all about. Now we can go to the vendor ledger account and we can see how this will be reflected. So whenever you execute any transactions related to the vendor, and after that you want to check the report, you need to run the report again. So you can go back and you can execute this report once again and you will see the changes. So you can have a look that when we cleared the line item with Fdis 53 in the previous transaction, what happened is all those line item has been taken back from here to the cleared items. So only 2 items are now left as open item, that is as the pending items, because these are the invoices against which the payment is still pending. So now suppose I want to see what are those transactions which I have made the clearing of. We have discussed that earlier. Even you can go back and you can go to this cleared item and you can put the date range for which you want to have a look. If you don't put the date range, it will show you for whatever the clearing activities have taken back in the past. It will show you all the data. So if I want to see only for today, I need to put the date of today 13 to 13 and I can execute this report. So this will show me what are the clearing activities which has been done as on today. So executed, you can see that these are the documents which have been cleared against the pending invoice or pending transactions. So this is how you process your down payment request. So what we did is we seen that how a down payment request can be created, and after that how the payment can be done on the basis of the request, and the whole process of booking invoices, making payments, and then clearing those all transactions with the transaction Fdis 44, and Fdis 54 is to converting a special GL transaction to a normal transaction. And all those changes have been done and constantly reviewed with the vendor line item display, that how the vendor ledger kept on changing with each and every transactions. So that is what you need to understand. What impact does each and every transaction have on the vendor ledger account, that is FBL1N. So that is what is done how in the down payment request. Now the next we will be moving is the down payment without any request. So now moving to the second case, that is making advance payment to the vendor without creating any request. Now this is more or less very much similar to what we did with request. Just the common difference between these two is that in case of request we used to execute one extra transaction, that is the first one, Fdis 47. And while processing Fdis 48, we need to select that request, and then we have to process the down payment. So that is what will not be done for a normal down payment without any request. So let's see how we will be doing the down payment without any request. So without any request, you will exclude the very first transaction, and the rest of the transactions will remain as it is, and there is no change. So let's move on. Without request, first we will be processing a down payment. So a direct payment, advance payment, can be made to the vendors. So before starting again, we can go to FBL1N and we can check with the vendor that is there any balance in that or not. So now I'm executing this particular, selecting a special GL indicator as well. Execute this report, and you can see that in the report there is only these two transactions which are pending, $1,000 and $108. Both are invoices which are pending for payment. So now on this we will proceed with making a down payment to the vendor. So let's open a new screen for the next transaction. A maximum of 6 screens you can have at one go, and you can work on multiple 6 different screens. So the very first transaction from for the down payment is Fdis 48. So we'll be moving to Fdis 48. Fdis 48, enter. Select the date. Then rest of the things you need to take care that the company, currency, everything is fine. You need to select the vendor. You need to select the special GL indicator as C, but in case you have multiple indicators, like for capital vendor there could be a different indicator, for normal revenue vendor there could be different, for any other category if you want you can have a different indicator as well. So you can have different indicators, and you need to decide, the business need to decide with which indicator they want to process the down payment depending upon the kind of purchases they are making. Now selecting the bank, the business area, and then the amount. Now how much amount do you want to make down payment of? Like suppose I take the down payment as $30,000. Now in the same way you can go below and you can fill the text as well. So I can write it over here as normal advance payment to vendor. And now once you have done this, the same thing we did when we processed Fdis 48 at the time of down payment with request. So at that point of time we selected at this request and we clicked in this request and we selected the request from this tab. But right now we will not be taking this request anymore because we are not processing the down payment with request. So when you process with request, then you need to go to this request and you need to select that request also. But right now we are not moving with any request. We are making a normal advance payment without any request from any of the departments or anywhere. So this is what you need to fill on the screen, and once you fill this is all, you need to press enter on the screen, and when you enter on the screen you can see a new, it would take you to a new screen where you need to select the credit item, that is you need to again put the amount, then you need to put the business area, and then you can put the text on below. So this is what you need to fill. Two screens you need to fill, one is for debit and one is for credit. Now once you did these two things, then you can go to document and you can simulate your document. So the document simulated says that the bank is credited and the TCS, that is the vendor, has been debited with $30,000, and if you find that the document is correct, okay, then you can go for this post option and you can click onto the post button and the document will get posted. So you can see over here again the indicator, special GL indicator C is reflected to you because at the previous screen we selected the special GL indicator as C. So this is okay. We can go to this post option and the document will get posted for the vendor. So this is the document which has been generated and which says that the advance payment to the vendor has been done. So now let's move and check the vendor ledger account. Now you need to refresh from this list, and when you refresh it, then you can see that the documents will get updated over here on the screen. So click on the refresh button and you can see now the document with $30,000 has been updated, and you can see this is a special GL indicator field in which the indicator C has been updated over here. So this is how the down payment can be done to a vendor, and rest of all the things are as same as we did when we created request. So now you can go for creating the invoice, and then if there is any remaining payment is there, then you can go for making the remaining payment balance to the vendor. Suppose I made a down payment of $30,000 and it is 100% advanced against the PO. In that case, the invoice can be booked and then the payment can be done, or you can say that if the payment is not possible, then the transactions can be cleared off against each other. So let's move on and take a scenario like this is 100% down payment against the PO or against the goods. So in that case, now we will book the invoice of $30,000. So we'll move to run the transaction code for vendor invoice, that is /n FB6060. Sorry, /n FB60. Enter, and you can see now over here you need to select the vendor date. In the reference you need to take the invoice number, then you need to select the amount over here. So 30,000, as the 30,000 is the advance payment which has been done. You can write the text what you want over here, and you need to select a GL account which needs to be debited against the vendor. Suppose I take this GL, which is a purchase account, or accordingly you can change your GL whichever you want to debit with. 30,000. Now moving next is your business area. Now in this case I am not taking any text code as of now. We will be processing this invoice. Now we can go to simulate, and when you simulate the transaction, you can see that the pop-up has been generated by the system. It says $30,000 advance to capital vendor. So whenever there is any advance payment done to the vendor on the basis of the indicator, the system automatically shows you the informations that there is a down payment by the vendor through its ledger account. So now you can click on to enter. So there is a warning message. You can enter on the keyboard and it will take you to the next. So this is the invoice which has been generated as a performer, as a preview, and if you find it okay, then you can go to the post button and you can post the invoice. So the invoice document number has been generated now. Now let's move again and see the vendor line item or the vendor ledger. So again you need to go to the list and you need to refresh the transaction. So once we refresh, you can see again now that the vendor invoice has been updated in the ledger account. So now there is an advance payment of 30,000 and there is an invoice of 30,000. Means the transaction is nearly complete, but yet these two line items are reflecting as open item. So we need to clear these two line items against each other. So how can we do that vendor clearing is with Fdis 44. So we need to go to the transaction /n Fdis 44, and now over here you need to select the vendor code. In account field you need to select the special jewel indicator, that is C, and you can go to this process open item. So it will select all the line items which are pending as of now in the vendor vendor ledger account, and in this the line items which you thinks that are ready for clearing for completion, that the transaction has been completed, you can select that, and the rest of them you can deselect. You can see the assigned amount is this much from after selecting these all. So I'm deselecting this $1,000, I'm deselecting this $108. So now there is a 30,000 plus item and there is a 30,000 minus item. Against each other they have been knocked off, so the balance becomes 0. So this is how the clearing is done. You need to select the plus and the minus, and both should be always equal to 0, so that a debit and a credit entry could be made by the system. So now moving on to simulate the document. Simulate. So you can see the document have been generated. This is a document generated just to get the line items cleared from the vendor ledger account. So now you can go and you can post the transaction, and now a document has been generated for clearing of the vendor ledger account. So once the document has been generated, you can display the document with FB03 as you already know, and now you can go to the vendor ledger and you can again refresh the vendor so as to get the ledger account updated. There are two wayouts to update this ledger account. One is you can refresh with the field over here, with the options over here, or you can go back and you can execute the report again. So if I execute the report again, you will see the changes. So it shows that the vendor's line item of advance against the invoice have been cleared. So this is how the clearing of vendor is done, and this is how the down payment is processed. So the rest of the report FK10N you can use for displaying the balance, which we have even seen when we did AP accounts payable /n FK10N. You need to select the vendor, the company code, and the fiscal year. Now you can go to execute. So you can see the balance over here in the 8th period has been reflected over here to you. The balance is 1108, and the same balance you will find in this particular report, because the closing balance should always match. So in the 8th period the balance is this. This is your net balance. So this is how this report works, and this is all about the down payment of vendor. So we have completed the vendor down payment, how you can make the advance to the vendor, and even the whole other transactions. So you can try that again into your system and you can practice it. We'll see you in the next training session with customer down payment. Thank you.